Violators, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Today you are having a very different view. It's because I am traveling back home and I need to cross the water. What is behind me is Pantou. The president of France, the ex-president of France, said that they regret that Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso are on their own, especially Mali. The coups that happened, they are not happy that we have these coups in Mali, because France's economy depends heavily on the Sahel, and now that they are free, they are suffering. So the man is very angry at Emmanuel Macron, and he's not the only person that is angry at Emmanuel Macron. We saw that one professor one time some years back came out to tell us that it is the of Emmanuel Macron that is making Africans to be wise. So these people are not sleeping, and that if they were there, they would have helped. If he was the president, and even during his time, he was making sure that we don't see all these insurgencies in Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. But it's because Emmanuel Macron is now the president of France, he didn't put his things well, and that's why all these insurgencies are all over Africa and in the Sahel. So he was expecting that Emmanuel Macron would do something because they love Africa and they don't want to see us in pain. So they need to act fast to make sure that all these insurgencies will come to an end. But these people don't have us at heart. That is what we need to understand. That anytime they talk about helping Africa, it means that they are thinking about themselves. Now we know that their economies are collapsing, industries every blessed day, because they are not getting the raw materials free from Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. So Africans, we need to understand the game these people play all the time on us, claiming that they love us. Always they come with the preaching that they love us and they are willing to do everything to support us, but they have never loved the African. Anytime they are talking about love, they are talking about their interests and not you, the African. He claimed that when he was the president, he did everything possible to bring these insurgencies under control, which we know when he was even the president, these insurgencies were still happening in Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. Even when the democratic elected president was there, this same thing was still happening in the Sahel, because they are behind it. Per what are all in all, Assimi Goita, Dramani Chiani, and Captain Ibrahim Traore, two generals, always tell us.
And I'm experiencing this situation with a lot of pain, because I've been the president who deployed French forces to Mali, and tragically over 50 soldiers lost their lives, with many more wounded, all in an effort to save Mali, specifically to prevent it from falling under the complete control of jihadists. Subsequently, France eventually withdrew. I will not provide the specific reasons for that here, as it was not my responsibility to do so. There was a coup d'etat in Mali, a military coup that should never have been tolerated, never, considering France's place in Mali and the nature of the government. One could say it was democratic, yes, even though there were always aberrations.
Think about the Sahel region, one of the poorest, yes, yet fastest growing demographically. The succession of military coups will make the region more unstable for years ahead. Russia is both influencing and benefiting from the crisis, and the region has become fertile ground to the rise of terrorism. This is of direct concern for Europe, for our security and our prosperity. So we need to show the same unity of purpose towards Africa as we have shown towards Ukraine. This is a must.
It's again important to say against the Western media that the coups that took place in Burkina Faso, led by Ibrahim Traore, in Mali and in Niger, in the Sahel region of Africa, just under the Sahara, these were not coups that were initiated from the military camp. There were mass public demonstrations against the presence of the French in these countries, fighting so-called Al-Qaeda, fighting so-called ISIS. We can talk later about this so-called ISIS, because just 24 hours ago, Mr. Trump claimed to attack so-called ISIS in Somalia. The French intervened in 2013. They created the problem because they destroyed Libya in 2011. Then they intervened. There were mass demonstrations against the French presence. The military acted to basically support the mass demonstrations on the streets. Now these three countries have very bravely created the Alliance of Sahel States, the AES. They have walked out of the imperialist-controlled ECOWAS bloc, the Economic Community of West African States.
We have more or less pushed out many Western countries, including the US, from Niger, from Mali, from Burkina Faso, from other countries. And this will cause problems for the future if we don't act. So we are thinking about an integrated approach to step up our efforts in Africa. And especially this approach will be that we will support them in a way that they ask for, instead of bringing them good, like we did in the past. So we're working hard on that one. But the reality at the moment is we lost ground. So there are more and more actors active in Africa. And I mentioned already migration, but it also means that when we are not present there, that it will be more difficult to have access to raw materials.
Many countries with a stake in what is going on in Niger, not least France, a former colonizer. My next guest is an expert on African policy and said in a recent interview, I quote, "The problem with France's policy in the Sahel was that it was slightly neo-colonial, telling Africans what they should be doing rather than listening to Africans." Well, I'm delighted to say Alex Vines is the director of the Africa program at Chatham House and joins me now live in London. You call France's policy in the Sahel slightly neo-colonial. We heard from many supporters of the coup in Larry's report there, with a very, very, very negative attitude towards the French. Is what we saw in that report a fair reflection of how people feel about the French in Niger, just before we move on?
Yeah, I think people in Niger, there's schizophrenia. They kind of, people are ambivalent about France. France has provided security guarantees. There's recognition that combating radical Islamists, be they affiliated to Islamic State or Al-Qaeda, has been important, but they certainly don't appreciate the patronizing nature and the sense of neo-colonial endeavor that France has sometimes carried with it.
Well, let's talk about that relationship with France and the wider Sahel region. What does France have to gain?
Well, Niger is a lot more strategic to France than any other Sahelian country for the simple reason that 7% of its energy supply comes from uranium mined in Niger. So Niger is the 7th largest producer of uranium in the world, and the majority of it gets exported to France. So that's an important revenue stream also for whoever's in power in Niamey, and that does complicate things further.
And that's important to point out, because we often hear the West talk about its counter-terror policy and therefore its involvement in this
counter-migration also.
Absolutely. You make a very, very good point. So we've had a look at where France stands. We've heard from those who support this coup and are very, very negative about France's influence there. There are also other stakeholders. We've heard the position of the West African countries under the umbrella of ECOWAS, laid out in Larry's report. What about Washington here? Washington has had some stern words to say about this coup. Secretary Blinken spoke with Niger's president, expressing support. Here's what he had to say in the wake of the news.
Our economic and security partnership with Niger, which is significant, hundreds of millions of dollars, depends on the continuation of the democratic governance and constitutional order that has been disrupted by the actions in the last few days. So that assistance, that support is in clear jeopardy as a result of these actions, which is another reason why they need to be immediately reversed.
Well, these mediation efforts, as reported by Larry, do not seem to be working. The military junta says that France plans, quote, strikes, and we are hearing a lot of pushback on that. How much influence does Washington have at this point?
Washington has a bit of influence, as you heard from Larry. There's 1,000 Americans troops in Niger. There's a drone base there, and Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world. I mean, it gets about $2 billion worth of international development each year. So the economics will start to bite very quickly, and that's going to put additional pressure on the junta.
Yeah, $2 billion is no small change.
No small change when you are a really poor country like Niger.
Then, of course, there is Russia's role, and we heard those supporters of the coup, of the military junta, praising Russia, praising Putin, and praising Russia's involvement. Perhaps rather than Putin and Russia as a whole, we should be talking about Wagner here. The Kremlin said it was seriously concerned over the Niger coup, but the Wagner's chief, Prigozhin, saying, and I quote him here, "What happened in Niger has been brewing for years. The former colonizers are trying to keep the people of African countries in check. In order to keep them in check, the former colonizers are filling these countries with terrorists and various bandit formations, thus creating a colossal security crisis." What do you make of what the Wagner chief has said?
Well, Wagner's looking for expanding its markets. Mr. Prigozhin, the leader of Wagner, a few weeks ago in Belarus, was telling his comrades there that they were going to focus on Africa in the future. So clearly this is an opportunity which he's offering for the junta in Niger.
These people are having sleepless nights. Africa must not progress. The day the African will take control over the resources, everything will come to an end. So they always make sure that they put in measures such as leaders that are puppets that they can easily control to always have access to the natural resources. How are you telling us that you love Africa so much and you are doing everything possible to save us? You cannot save Africa. You have been in contact with Africans for a very long time, yet we are seeing that Africa is still backwards. It's not that we know that it's as a result of these people, the West, that is the reason to which Africa we are not moving forward. And that's why we are seeing that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are moving away from the West and going to Russia. In history, Russia hasn't done anything wrong to us. They have never colonized us. They always stand with us when we are in need. But these are the things that sometimes they come out to say that Russia is benefiting from all the crisis that is happening. But that's not true, because always they spread propaganda. And these people will never do anything that will help Africa. And because they failed in everything that they've done, they always want to change the narrative by claiming that Russia is the reason to which Africa, we are going through all this and they are benefiting. But that's not true, because they have been with us for over 500 years and nothing has changed. Ever since we came in contact with them, Africa has always been backwards. We have never developed and had control. How do France that claims that it loves Africa tell us that we don't have the right to sell our mineral resources to people that they think that they wouldn't benefit? Like they told Niger that Niger cannot sell the uranium to Russia because they believe that if they should do that, they will empower Russia instead of Europe. So all they do is carry their interests first and not the Africans. So we Africans must unite, and that is why always I call for Africa unity. Until we are able to unite as a people, we can never change the narrative in Africa, and we can fight against these people. The time is now, and for us all to believe in our leaders that are leading us and stop believing in whatever the West puts out there. Everything that they put out is propaganda. They always claim they come here with their NGOs and everything to help us, but they are not here to help us. Nobody can help the African if we ourselves do not rise up to fight for ourselves and a better Africa and a change in Africa. Today we are on our journey to my place, and I love it so much. I am getting better anyway. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Europe and in France.